Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Otsego City Council meeting. Tonight is Monday, January 9th. Audra, can you have the record show our city attorney, city planner, city engineer, Councilmember Dunlap is present, Councilmember Gady is absent, Mayor Stockamp is present, Councilmember Dahl is present, Councilmember Morris is present, along with our assistant city administrator and our administrator. At this time, I'll ask you all to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Our first item of business this evening is our swearing in of our council members. Audra, I will have you go down. Ryan, first up.
After me. I state your name.
I, Ryan Dunlap,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of Minnesota,
of the State of Minnesota,
and that I will discharge faithfully
and that I will discharge faithfully
the duties of the City Council
the duties of the City Council
for the City of Otsego,
for the City of Otsego,
the State of Minnesota,
the State of Minnesota,
and to the best of my judgment and ability.
and to the best of my judgment and ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Okay.
Should we take up the little shine?
Oh, thank you.
Ryan, would you like to take a picture? Like, should we all take one? Sure. You tonight?
It's not a bracket.
And then the light.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I see them.
All right. At our next meeting, we will swear in Councilmember Tina Gady. All right, our second item of business this evening is our open forum. This is the portion where you can come to the podium, state your name and address, and limit comments to 5 minutes or less. Would anyone like to speak at this time? All right.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Walter Hudson. I live at 6027 Callan Circle Northeast in Albertville. And I was just newly sworn in as your state representative for at least the western half of the city. And so I want to take the opportunity to come by and introduce myself. Some of you I've met before through other functions, the I-94 Coalition and the like. But for some of you, this might be the first time that I'm seeing you and speaking to you. So congratulations on your election or re-election, as the case may be. And I just want to provide you with a brief glimpse at what's going on down in St. Paul, the Capitol. I will try to keep my remarks tempered regarding the controversial partisan nature of some of the stuff. And start off and give you some good news, which is that we passed our first bill today, and it was tax conformity for the state, bringing our tax code in alignment with the federal code. And that's something that hadn't happened in recent years. It was long overdue. And we were able to do it in, I believe, entirely unanimous, certainly bipartisan fashion. And so that's a nice early sign that things can get done down in St. Paul, which wasn't necessarily the case last session. So hopefully that'll set the tone for the way things work going forward. Unfortunately, or fortunately, as the case may be, depending on your persuasion, it seems clear that the governing majority down there is intent upon spending as much of the 17, nearly $18 billion surplus as they possibly can. And it's not just the fact that they're spending it, it's the way they're choosing to spend it on things that, much of the surplus is one-time money. It's not ongoing revenue that's going to be available to the state going forward. And yet it seems as though they may be spending it in such a way that it will create an ongoing demand. One such example is there's a bill, I'm on two committees. One is the Public Safety Committee and the other is Children and Families, which is one of the education committees, deals with early childhood. And in the Education Children and Families Committee, yet this week, we're going to hear a bill that provides ongoing funding to childcare providers. Now, this funding, it's called I forget exactly what the term is, but it was implemented during the pandemic in order to keep these childcare providers in business to supplement their income because it was adversely affected by the number of people who kept their kids home. So that was the intention of the funds. Obviously, with everything being opened up now, the necessity for that funding is no longer there, and it was designed to sort of taper off. Well, this bill would bring it right back up to pandemic levels. And the expectation is that it's going to continue going forward. And so that's an example of the way the thinking tends to work down there. Everything's introduced as a temporary one-time Band-Aid solution, but then it's only a precursor for spending more and more of your money. The House File number 2, their second priority is paid family and medical leave, which sounds fantastic. Who wouldn't want it? And what employer wouldn't want to offer it if they could? But this is going to force small businesses in this city, in this region, who can't afford to provide that benefit to do so, and in such a manner that's going to cause disruptions to the workforce, because you're going to have folks who are going to be taking a quarter of the year off, a third of the year off, and you're going to have to hire people specifically to fill their spot and then give it up once they return, and then have to pay those people unemployment. I mean, that's going to push a lot of these businesses that operate on the margin right over the edge. So these are the sorts of things we're dealing with down there. But those of us in the minority are trying to fight for some vestige of sanity. So hopefully we'll be able to prevail to some degree. One positive thing from a municipal perspective is that this is a bonding year. And so we will be looking at a bonding bill, and the legislature requires 60% in order to do that, which means they're going to need some minority support. And so I have not had the opportunity to sit down with Otsego staff or with any of you specifically to talk about projects that you may have in mind or that may be a top of the list for Otsego. But chances are, I don't want to speak for Representative Paul Novotny, but you do have 2 representatives for your city, which helps. So I look forward to continuing to serve you and would happily take any questions you may have.
Great. Thank you, Walter. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah. Welcome, sir. Congratulations on your election.
Thank you.
Good job. My question would be, the last 2 years, I was elected 2 years ago, and the 2 questions we have usually every April during the tax and equalization is with when county comes here, they give us the news of, yes, our property taxes are going up. And then what? So with that, my question would be, is there anything in the capital about maybe also raising the ceiling on our homestead tax credit? Because you notice that's going down, but our value is going up, but our tax credit stays the same. So it basically means not much credit, which also would help on our any type of tax back or tax, whatever. But is there anything like that to bring that homestead tax credit up?
Well, I'll tell you 2 things. 1, I've heard chatter along those lines. 2, there have been nearly 200 bills introduced in a little over a week. So maybe it's already in there. I certainly will look into it. I think that is something that needs to happen. Clearly, the homestead exemption has not kept up with economic conditions. So we will definitely take a look at it.
Thanks, sir.
Yep.
Any other comments? All right. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Any other comments from the audience?
Buddy,
Hello.
Corey Tanner, 7952 Palmgren Avenue. Northeast. I've never put down notes on my phone, so forgive me. I'm here tonight because I have a few concerns that I would like to bring up and make a request. But first, I'd like to say congratulations to Ryan. I know how hard you worked and many long hours that you walked the streets, and I know you'll do a good job here the next 4 years. So I wish you the best of luck. And I was gonna say that to Councilmember-elect Gady, who's not here, which is kind of why I'm here. And it's kind of, at the tail end of the election last time. It's holding your elected officials, making them accountable. The concerns that I have has to do with Councilmember Gady. I wasn't going to bring this up, but being that she's not here again tonight, I just think it's ridiculous. She missed 25 meetings, city council meetings in 4 years. And that's according to public record. That's more than the combined total of former Mayor Larry Fournier, former Council Member Heidner, Mayor Stockamp, and myself. In all those years, she's missed more in 4 years. And as a resident and as a candidate who tried very hard, I have a hard time with it. If she doesn't want to do the job, then I think she should resign. So I guess what I'm asking the council is, what are the rules around holding each other accountable as a council? I don't think, as far as I know, in the city's history that we've ever had to do something like this, consider this sort of thing, but my request would be to take a look at what our rules are with this and build off of that, because it's very important that we hold our elected officials accountable. Other than that, cheery news. Ryan, this is the night when everybody dresses awesome, so don't get used to it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any other comments from the audience? All right, we will close the open forum and move on to item 3 to consider our agenda for approval. Does anyone have anything that they would like to add or delete at this time? And a motion would be in order.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'll move to adopt the agenda as written.
Second.
All right, motion by Brittany, seconded by Ryan. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item 4 is our consent agenda. A motion would be in order.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Brittany.
I'll move to adopt the consent agenda as written.
My second.
All right. Motion by Brittany, seconded by Jeff. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Moving on to item 5.1. It's our 101 ramp signal improvement project. I'll turn this over to Ron.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the project that we're putting in flashing left-hand turns along 6 signals, 5 of them which are in Otsego, 1 is in St. Michael. So it's at the traffic or the at the ramps at 42, 38, and 36. So this one specifically is 42 on the west side. When we went to the pre-construction meeting, MnDOT brought up that additional pedestal base and signal head are required to meet MnDOT requirements. So then we went back, put the design together, got the quote from the contractor, and I've got the signatures from the state and from the contractor for this. And it's an additional $9,229.36. About 25% of that is the city of Otsego's portion, because that's a number of legs the city has on that intersection. The reason it's needed is because when you're taking that left-hand turn, the vehicle in front of you, if it's a bigger vehicle, can block the signal head from your sight. And you need to know that it's a flashing so that when you get there, that you can stop in case someone is coming down. They may be able to get through the first car, but the second car may have to wait for the turn. So you need that one off to the side to let that second or third vehicle know. So that's why that requirement's there. And I've got on the next screen is where that signal head will be placed. I highlighted it. It's number 5. So it's just to the right of the signals that are straight ahead of you, so that if that car or vehicle that's larger than you is taking a left, you can see off to the right and know that that's flashing, that you should yield to a neon coming traffic coming straight through. So we're recommending approval of this change order. If you have any questions.
Council, any questions on this one?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I spoke with Ron today, and again, just to reiterate that the city's portion of this is 25% and the county is 75%.
Correct.
Yes.
The other 75% will be handled by the grant from MnDOT and Wright County, because they have 2 legs on this portion.
We, my comment would just be that we were hoping that we could avoid some of these additional things, but it makes sense as you're coming down that ramp to not be able to see it. But I was hoping with the topography, you'd be high enough that you can see it. So of what we currently have, to not have to add the additional pedestal piece.
Do we know how many cars actually travel that in a day? Or,
I'd have to look it up, but it's quite a few.
yeah, definitely not very safe right there if someone were to cross the street.
All right, any other questions or comments? Then a motion would be in order.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Jeff.
I'd like to make a motion.
Yes.
Motion to approve change order number 1 in the amount of $9,209 with 36 cents for the TH 101 ramp signal improvement project, city project number 22-09.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Jeff, seconded by Ryan. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Next item is 70th Street Turn Lanes Improvement Project. Ron?
Thank you, Mayor. This is on the west side of town, Cassatt 38 at Martin Farms Avenue. North Water this last year put in right-hand turn lanes just a quarter mile to the west of this. And that was done by the developers because the developer was making a new access road. These 2 roads have been there for quite some time. This wasn't a county road when those developments were placed. So now that it is a through street and through highway, and it's carrying quite a bit of traffic, there is some safety concerns there. And the county this year will be doing a mill and overlay on this stretch from McIver Avenue out past Martin Farms to the new section of street. So it makes a sense to do this improvement with right-hand turn lanes so that when they come through and put the new pavement down and the striping down, they can put that final lift of asphalt on. That's one of the things that it makes it a good timing, is that portion of that asphalt, that final lift, would be paid for by the county if we get it. The rest of the curb and gutter and the pavement put in. So we put together a schematic here of how it would look. put that extra right-hand turn lane and left-hand turn lanes in. And we have a cost estimate on the next sheet of about $65,000 to do that. So we're asking the council to approve us to go forward with plans and specs to get a contractor on board. I'll bring that back to you. And then with that quote, approve it so we can have this construction done before the county comes in and does their project.
All right, any questions? Ron, my question was just gonna be that we budgeted and gave him only 50,000. So if it does come in at Ron's total, where else are you taking that from?
Mayor, the funding would come from the same source. The budget estimate was based off the construction estimate, did not include the engineering overhead or contingency. So we're hoping that 25% is less than that amount as we get further throughout the project. But on a small project like this was the best starting point.
Okay. One other question, and this, I know it's not part of this project, but there has been a lot of complaints further down on 38, with just people crossing. So as you said, that the county's coming in to look at these projects. Are they at all anticipating doing any changes on any of the roads that they have coming or doing in Otsego to kind of help with that?
Well, the pedestrians, they would like those to go to a signalizer or a roundabout in
Yes.
order to make those crossings safely. This is a 50-mile-an-hour zone, switching up to a 55 right after that.
Right.
So putting a crosswalk across here and that's not within their guidelines,
Okay.
Specifically because people traveling that fast, and if they see those
they won't be able to stop.
crosswalks every day, the chances of them stopping, it really becomes a bit more perilous for the people walking across it than just them making sure they have a good distance and knowing that they have to take it on their own risk to make that crossing. And unfortunately, that's the way it just is with traffic. When you get to those higher speeds, you don't want to feel like you're being protected by the stripes or the signs, and then someone comes along and isn't following those, because every day there's not a crosswalk person happening there all the time and you're at a higher speed.
Okay. Well, and obviously the comments have been the trails on the north side of the road, but you have all those houses on the south side too. So I guess that's where I get it that we're supposed to go the roundabout or sign signal intersection, but the reality is you're gonna have to go out of your way to get out to that sidewalk. So just wanted to bring it up since we're discussing it right now, and if they had any plans to address that.
It doesn't meet the spacing guideline for the county. So
Okay,
that's where we sit.
Dan. Sure. Right. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to bring it up, we get emails and calls about that, and this area specifically has been talked about, so wanted to address it. Any other comments? Otherwise, a motion would be in order.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Jeff,
I can make a motion.
sure.
Motion to authorize preparation of plans and specifications for Martin Farms Avenue and 70th Street Turn Lanes Improvement Project.
Second.
Motion by Jeff, seconded by Brittany. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. All right, next item, 6.1 is Minnesota Otsego Industrial Properties LLC. I will turn this over to Dan. All right. Does the applicant wish to comment? Okay. Anyone on this? John? Okay. All right, questions for council?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
at the planning commission meeting, there was I believe it was the property owners asked to remove item number 10. That the site plan should be revised such that the outdoor storage area does not extend into the yard east of the front line of the principal building. I wasn't able to follow along on what the resolution of that was and why we would keep it in.
Mhm.
And then just kind of for my own edification, the interim use permit is required for any development that is going to have outdoor storage.
That's correct. The intent of that is-
Okay.
If it was allowed by right. the name of use, such as- the developer just takes the has the right to beneficial.
Just one last question.
Mhm.
Is it, again, I'm new here. Is it common for a city to require an IUP for that?
Most cities like to require the additional.
Okay.
The fancy restoration. Yes, you can have a which the extra.
Okay, thank you.
As Dan said, it gives us more control as ownership changes, so. All right, any other questions regarding this?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
previously, we didn't charge for park dedication or cash fee in lieu of land, and now we are. So is the developer okay with this? Thank you.
Right. Any other questions or comments? No more questions or comments, then a motion would be in order. Yes, Brittany?
I would make a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-01, amending the zoning map and approve a preliminary plat, site and building plans and interim use permit for iOS Otsego, subject to the conditions stated in the findings of fact and decision as presented. 2023-01.
Perfect. You just said 2025.
Oh, I said 2025.
We're not there yet.
I was like, well, I don't think they want to wait 2 more years, but.
I second.
Is there a second, Jeff? All right,
Good catch, good catch.
motion by Brittany, seconded by Jeff. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Dan? All right. Moving on to item 7.1, this is our annual business. It would be appointing the acting mayor. I will make a motion, we can discuss it, but my motion is to appoint Councilmember Brittany Morse.
I second. I was just gonna say that. but
Okay.
Thank you for doing that, Mr. Mayor.
So there's a motion by Jessica, seconded by Jeff. Is there any discussion? You don't get to accept or deny, you just get it. All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. I'll promise to try never to be gone. How's that
Thanks.
sound?
I appreciate that.
All right. Next, I will pass out your city council appointments for 2023. All right. Planning Commission. Mayor Stockham, Councilmember Dahl will be the alternate for that. Park and Recreations will be Councilmember Morse, alternate Councilmember Dunlap. Heritage Preservation, which meets quarterly, as Councilmember Morse, alternate Councilmember Dunlap. Public Safety, Councilmember Gady, alternate Mayor Stockham. Public Safety Committee is held during the day. That will be Councilmember Dahl, Councilmember Dunlap, alternate Councilmember Gady. Administrative Subcommittee, which meets the second Wednesdays, Mayor Stockham, Councilmember Morse, and alternate Councilmember Dahl. Otsego Creek Authority is listed, but we only have to I will make appointments that if need be. So, does anyone have any issues with your appointments?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'm rubbing off on you. You said
What I say?
safety for during the day and it's public works. just-
Oh, sorry.
Again,
there you
it's-
go.
I'm probably
Thank you.
helping. you
Public
do
Safety,
that.
Public Works. Hey, I was reading it quickly.
You did great.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'd just point out that I have a pretty significant amount of availability, so if anybody can't make it to a meeting, feel free to call me. I can always substitute.
And with that, also with Public Works Subcommittee, that is via Zoom. So if you can be here, of course, and then it need be, I always Zoom or on that. So
Awesome.
Great.
And then I just have one question is,
Mhm.
so is there any issue of maybe a potential quorum or something like that if I do attend some of these meetings?
You can attend the commissions at night if you would like to.
Yeah.
We do have it noted. Originally, it was not, it was only supposed to be the 2 people that were assigned. If you'd like to attend, you're welcome to. The committees during the day, no quorum.
Right, okay,
So you cannot attend those.
thank you.
All right, so we will need a motion to accept my appointments for 2023.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to accept or make a motion to accept your appointments for 2023 on all the subcommittees and liaison appointments.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Councilmember Dahl, seconded by Councilmember Dunlap. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. All right, moving on to city council reports and updates. Does anyone have anything?
Madam Mayor,
Yes,
I'll just let everybody know I've been busy.
good.
Started out, I think, early in December with a tour of Lake Johanna Fire Department. So I met with the fire chief there and then the assistant chiefs, and they were very helpful and gave me a tour of their building and kind of walked me through their operations. So Lake Johanna serves Shoreview, North Oaks, and Arden Hills. And great group of folks that those communities are well served by those by that fire department. After that, I took a tour of City Hall and Public Works. Thank you again to Mr. Flaherty and Ms. Hill. They gave a presentation. They answered all my dumb questions and gave me a nice tour of that building. And then after that, I took a tour of the East Wastewater Treatment Facility with utility operations manager, Mr. Niedermeyer. And again, a great group of folks. They really know what they're doing, and they were happy to answer all my dumb questions. So that was a day where we had a blizzard. So it was a long tour, but it was a lot of fun. I really did enjoy that. So, and then this last Friday, we went to the I-94 Corridor Coalition annual legislative breakfast. And yeah, learned a lot there, got to see a lot of the representatives and newly elected folks. So a lot of fun. And then just again tonight, a tour of Prairie Center. Again, thank you, Mr. Flaherty, for doing that. I think I've seen every building now. I still do have to tour the West facility when that's all done. I think I'm looking forward to that. And then maybe when the weather warms up, I'll tour the old City Hall as well. But
The door is locked or it's frozen.
yeah, yeah, I'll wait until it's warm. But yeah, that's what I've been up to.
It's cold storage. So in there. My question to you, what made you choose Lake Johanna to tour?
So Lake Johanna, from my research, is the 5th largest privately owned non-industrial fire department in the entire United States. And they are only 30 minutes away. So I decided to kind of tour them just to kind of see their history. They've been in business for, I think, 80 years. And the chief was very gracious when I reached out to him. And at the same time, they have an operating budget that is, I think, 18% lower than similarly sized municipally owned fire departments. So the chief kind of told me that he thinks a lot of that comes from efficiencies that have kind of been built in over the years. He didn't really have a magic formula for me, unfortunately, but he did kind of let me know that they do have some things that are pretty interesting. He showed me their automated dispatch system, which was pretty cool. He told me about some of the challenges they have. For example, North Oaks is a private community, and they don't have any fire hydrants. So similar to some of the things that we experience here on the Northeast side, where there aren't any fire hydrants. And what he told me their solution for that has been to create what are called dry hydrants, which is basically a pipe that goes into a water source, like a basin or a river or something like that, in order to be able to quickly fight the fires in that neighborhood. I thought that was pretty interesting. And when I was taking the tour of the wastewater treatment facility, I asked Mr. Niedermeyer if we had anything similar, and he said, I don't think that we do.
No,
So
runs.
yeah,
An engineer question.
I thought that was kind of interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a really long pipe for most of the area that we would need to fight that doesn't have water to it. Yeah, I just was interested why you chose that location, just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I think they're similar size area for
But 3 different communities.
3 different communities, about twice the population of Otsego. So
Have you seen their tax base?
yeah.
Yeah. It's like, you listen,
North Oak.
yeah, it's like North Oak, Shoreview, and Arden Hills.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Like I said, that's a group of people that really enjoy what they're doing, and it was fun to watch. So
Yeah, interesting. Thank you. As Ryan said, last week was a busy week. We had the I-94 breakfast, and then the day before, Senator Klobuchar was here as we discussed accepting our monies coming in. Adam kept going back to now, how are we gonna get the money? And Joni's here with the paper. And that was kind of Adam's one question. And now who do I gotta call? You're the finance guy. I appreciate that. It was good. So yeah, it was a nice little visit. She was running late and then we kept her even later because she started talking. So hopefully the city's after us. Weren't too mad at us. But she was really funny. So yeah, just a lot of good things. Obviously, talked to Kevin. We've had a lot of snow. All of our plow drivers are doing an excellent job. Park and Rec staff that plow and the utility staff that jumps in to help plow too. So it's been a long winter, it feels like, and it's only the first part of January. So let's just hope the rest of the winter's easier for them. So we need to see their families too and have a good work-life balance. But again, I keep passing on, telling them all thank you for what they do. Also, you might have seen there was 2 residents in the back. The Otsego River Riders hosted their event this weekend. It's a hot dogging on the trail, which is a good event that just brings in the whole county. All the snowmobile associations promote each other within Wright County. So there was about 80 to 90 people that came on snowmobiles up to Otsego. We got to meet the groomers. There's 6 groomers in Wright County and 2 of them are shared, or 2 cities. So Albertville and Otsego share the groomer. So you would have seen them out doing ditches last Thursday in preparation for it. I learned a lot as they plow the county roads. Then the next day they go out and have to push the wing back to get it off the side, but usually the groomer goes through, so then they have to go through again to make that. And obviously we've gotten a lot of snow. It's record 30 years snow already at this point. So we have been dealing with snowmobilers not staying on the trails where they need to. I appreciate the Otsego River Riders for taking those calls, and once they come to me, we send it to them and they go out and put up more signage, talk with the residents. So it's been a very good partnership, but a good event. It was just held right down here out on 39 in Nashua at the old town hall. A good spot. Does anyone else have anything? I do not. All right. We will move on to staff reports and updates. Item 9.1, so we'll go through these first and then we'll round robin. So
Sounds good.
schedule advisory commission interviews. Do you guys?
Councilmember Mayor, I'm sorry, Mayor Stockamp.
Mhm.
There are 12 openings on the advisory commissions
Okay.
between terms expiring and vacancies.
Okay.
And as of this afternoon, we did have 12 applications. 9 are people that are reapplying.
Okay.
So we'll have to pick a date to do interviews. We are also still taking applications till January 17th, so for another week.
Okay.
So I don't know what the final number that we'll need for interviews, but we need to look at a date to start that.
Sure. One comment, I don't know if Adam's talked to you, but there are some people that we interviewed recently for terms, and then openings fell into place where they moved up from being alternates to true spots. I would really support not re-interviewing those people. They've already been interviewed. Everyone knows who they, besides Ryan, but the 4 of us would know who they are. And at this point, they would have only served 1 to 1.5 years at those spots. So I think you're able to go back and see who those are.
I believe there's only one person that
Me too.
bumped. Do you think there's 2? Okay.
It's going to be Jessica Schaefer and probably Mark Wolf.
Okay.
So I guess I don't see the need myself to interview those people. They were just interviewed for open spots, put as alternates, and then moved up to full spots.
For clarification, you said Wolf was the second one
Mark,
on public safety?
yes.
And his term doesn't expire till 2025.
Okay, just making sure that as
Yeah.
we're moving people up. So Jessica Schaefer, that's how hers ended up being. She was on an alternate spot, alternate A, but she went into another person's spot, and so it made it that she had to interview again this year. I just don't see the need for that either. I
Sure.
think we can keep, if everybody agrees with that.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
So I'd be looking for a date that you would like to do interviews.
sure. All right. Let's everybody get out their calendars. So you said we close on the 17th.
Next Tuesday.
Okay. What do people have? Let's see, 1, 2. The 24th would not be any meetings. That would be an open Tuesday. 24th. I'm unavailable on the 25th, but could do the 26th. If we're looking for January, if we're looking for later, what are you guys looking at?
January 26th would be tough for
Okay.
me.
What about the 24th?
Perfect.
Everybody, January 24th?
24th works. Yep.
Okay,
Let's start at 5:36.
I think we should start at 5:30. These are usually 15-minute spots. Okay. So I will make a motion to call for interviews to begin on January 24th, starting at 5:30 PM.
Second.
All right, motion by Jessica, seconded by Ryan. Audrey, we can hold them here, but I guess just confirm that we can use the front room again.
I'll check.
Check with,
Well, I don't know. Are you gonna do any on Zoom?
if they, I mean, we have offered that in the past if they couldn't make it. I mean, it was more childcare related and obviously part of that was COVID. I'm open to that. If you want to just go through and figure out the spots.
We'll confirm.
5, 6. But yeah, I mean, it does, we'd be able to fill up the spots if we start at 5:30, we would definitely have room. Yes, so Zoom can be an option if they can, and especially we can use that front room. It's got the capabilities. All right, any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item 9.2, schedule a special meeting for elected official training session. I would propose that we meet on the 23rd before council meeting.
I would agree. There's no, I mean, we're gonna be here the 24th. So why not? I don't want to take another, I mean, I like all of you guys, but
Nope,
prefer to
well,
do
and
it
it's,
before.
we're used to meetings before council meetings. so-
Mayor and City Attorney Kendall will be conducting that presentation and training, and he'll be here that evening already on the 23rd, so that would be efficient use of his time and visits to Otsego.
Right. Dave, how much time do you need? Do you want to start at 5:30 or 6 o'clock?
Maybe talk about 5:30.
All right. Then I will make a motion that we call for a special meeting on January 23rd at 5:30.
Second.
Okay, motion by Jessica, seconded by Ryan. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item 9.3, Emergency Services Director Recruitment.
Thank you, Mayor. As we discussed at the December 12th meeting, when we presented the job description for the Emergency Services Director, we would return with a proposed recruitment schedule for that position. So this is our tentative timeline so far for the position is to plan to post January 24th, have the application deadline by March 2nd. There's kind of some options with the supplemental questions due March 13th, depending on how many applicants we receive. Doing a first round of interviews with staff. We are hoping to have it a little bit smaller on that one with Adam, myself, Jerry. We will be having Sergeant Altman's join us as well. And then we'll hopefully be reaching out to a chief to get, a fire chief to get confirmed for that as well. As we get hopefully some better timelines on that. And then second round of interviews will kind of work a little bit more on some of the personality of just fit with staff, kind of develop that, maybe do some 2 rounds similar that we did in the Parks and Rec director position. And then we'll have some additional candidate assessments, especially with this being more of a public safety position. There's some more assessments that have been recommended for this recruitment just to help in making a decision and to make sure that it's a good fit. And then we'll have to make a finalist interviews with the council with the hope of having 2 to bring the council with format. We can discuss a little more on what the format will look like, but we're hoping to set a date for that with the estimated start of June 2023. Yeah, so we're hopefully looking for probably the first few weeks of April. I don't know if anyone has any availability of, or has ideas now, just to kind of get that set in stone so we can move forward and get that posted and let candidates know in advance. That tends to be pretty beneficial for people applying when they can be aware of potential dates that they would need to be available on.
I think we should wait till after Easter, just, we don't know who this candidate may be, but that first week is sometimes spring break if they have children, so right before Easter. Everybody get out their calendars.
So Easter would be the 9th.
9th,
of
yes.
April.
I guess in my mind, obviously, I would say Wednesdays or Thursdays we don't have conflicts then with other commission meetings. What's everybody think of that 12th or 13th?
12th is a Wednesday,
Yes,
will be for a Wednesday. The 12th.
the 12th. Okay,
Works for me.
so let's,
And we'll have the council formally motion.
Motion
to
that.
schedule
Yes.
a time, but for now staff will assume April 12th.
Mhm.
We'll finalize timing at a later date when you actually call for that meeting. So,
yes, that sounds great.
okay.
Exciting stuff. Thank you, Sabrina.
A few more things we wanted to make sure to get the council input on as well. And Sabrina's been working with Kim to put together a position profile. So these are some of the highlights that we're advertising the position for. Want to just talk through those with the council. We wanted to make sure that the council was in alignment with staff before we post this position.
So this kind of just walks through some of the top priorities that we anticipate for this person to be taking on right away. So as our priorities for the department, obviously a department creation, they're going to have a lot of flexibility on what that looks like. Breaks down kind of the history of where that came from. Looking at fire station, emergency responders, as that's going to be something that will be a big task to take on, as what that is going to look like. New to the area, everything around that. There's going to be a lot of policy development that will be needed for personnel, as well as just different public safety policies as well. A huge part that kind of brought on from this whole study was the emergency operations plan. So that will be a huge just project for them to be updated and to keep it updated, because that I think is going to be the biggest one for at least internal staff, to make sure that we're able to continue forward to safely respond to incidents. And then obviously, as this is a new department and kind of as a priority for the council, is fiscal responsibility. So making sure that this budget is reflecting our priorities and our goals, as well as being able to maintain that throughout the year. Is there any questions on these top priorities? Previously, for other positions, we've outlined top priorities. It usually tends to help with recruitment, where people are aware of what they're going to be kind of focusing on for those first 6 to 18 months.
Sure. Council, any question? I'm reading them also. Yeah, sorry. It's first I'm seeing this, so
Madam Mayor,
yes.
and just to reiterate, it was you two and also Sergeant Holtzman. Was there anybody else involved in helping?
Jerry.
Yep.
Jerry, that's right. Okay.
And then additionally, a fire chief, hopefully to be able to help out as well, especially on the technical side of things.
I brought this up before and I talked about it at admin meeting, but I actually, I think it, I've given you guys a name, so I don't know if I should publicly say it since it's being recorded, but
Yeah, we've talked about that fire chief with Jerry, and he thought that would be a great person to have involved. So I'll reach out individually to that person before we list them.
I did see him actually on Friday in Otsego, and just he was very kind and sent an email actually today, and that just said, hey, if you guys ever need anything, please reach out. I'd love to help and discuss things. And so
Awesome.
I will pass on his email if you would like.
So just the final thing is we have the interview date set for the council. We've kind of, if council feels okay with the proposed recruitment schedule that we have shown tonight. And then we'll plan to post position on January 24th.
Okay. Any questions or comments?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
what would be a competitive salary for this position?
So we are in the process of having our
It's scored.
Baker Tilly is the firm that we work with to score all of the job descriptions for the city. Staff, when we put together a budget, looked at salary survey data from the League of Minnesota Cities. We feel that a starting range will probably be in excess of $100,000, so probably somewhere between pay grade 17 and pay grade 20 on the city's pay plan. So again, looking for our consultant Baker Tilly to actually score the
Score it
position,
for us.
which would then slot it into the city's pay plan.
Do you know what the impact to the tax levy would be then? Is it like a 2% increase in the tax levy?
Well, the funding for this position has been included in the 2023 budget
Budget,
and
yeah.
funded by the tax levy. I don't have the percentage offhand as to what that budget impact did to the tax levy.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments? All right. Do you want us to give you the yay or do you want to?
No, I feel that we have
Okay.
good feedback.
All right. Thank you. All right, we are still on staff reports and updates. Sabrina. Anything else? We're going in order. She's writing her notes.
Thank you, Mayor. Not too much for updates besides the big recruitment. We will have January 19th is the end for RFPs or request for proposal period for our compensation and classification study. So that will be coming up soon and hopefully have some information for council in February on what we get back on for proposals on that. That is what I can think of off the top of my head.
Perfect, thank you. Adam.
Just a quick update, Mayor, city offices will be closed next Monday for the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday.
Thank you,
Audra?
Mayor. I have nothing to report. Thank you.
All right, Dave.
Nothing to report. Thanks, Mayor.
All right, Dan.
Mayor, at the last planning commission and also at their meeting in November, the planning commission had discussed the difference of opinion that the planning commission and city council had regarding the Norhart concept plan. They had recommended approval unanimously. The council voted unanimously to turn it down. They were concerned that they aren't doing their job to reflect the priorities of the city council. So we did discuss first and foremost that if planning commission does have concerns about a project, they need to express those at the appropriate time and don't feel obligated to vote for something or support something, even, you know, certainly not if staff is recommending approval, because we recommend approval of most things just from the standpoint of trying to set the city up for a decision process. Because I don't think some of the sentiments of the planning commission were adequately reflected in their recommendation. Secondly, we've talked that, you know, the discussion regarding Norhart went back to the multiple family housing study. And I think what has happened is people focus too much in on the specific kind of guideline or well, the specific recommendation of a 10% housing unit as part of the housing stock. You know, that study is meant to be a guide. It's not an absolute limit. It's not a goal. It's just a general guide. So when the planning commission and council were looking at that application, it needed to be the context of the development itself, the location it was proposed as part of the overall vision of how the city develops. And certainly that project was complicated because if you looked at the recommendations from the housing study, they were pushing the envelope on every one of those things, which the planning commission had responded to and made recommendations that they shouldn't. And then when it came to the council, they continued to push for those flexibilities for their project. So the planning commission, I think, was concerned with future applications coming forward that you know, they wanted to be on the same page at least and feel like the council is valuing their contributions in the work that they do in these And so what we had indicated was certainly the discussion we had about review the project carefully and within the context of the comprehensive plan overall, not zeroing in on specific elements, necessarily the multiple family housing study. And then also, as we're finalizing the comprehensive plan, really look at, the appropriate land uses for the city going forward. So hopefully we do have an application coming at their next meeting, and with that discussion that we had and just highlighting it here to the council that the discussion or the issue was raised from the planning commission, we can move forward with that project.
I guess I have some comments and I did share them that night. And I talked to you about it also. I said, I think I can see where residents are reading your planning report and you're putting in there how many houses we have left to get to that 10%. I don't think that that's appropriate necessarily, because again, I know the intention of it was just to give us a guide to say where it was, but these developers are seeing, oh, they still have room, so we can kind of push in these apartments or try to get them to happen. In the case of Norhart, our comments were very much that, as you said, they kept pushing the envelope and were not willing to make any of the changes that the planning commission had recommended. So we were never going to support that. I also would agree that I think there was comments made by planning commissioners that I was surprised that they voted the way that they did at the end to put it in favor. And I know I can respect that they get a lot of heat. They get the since it's the public hearings, they're going to get the residents that are not happy. And so they feel as though they're the ones being attacked at times. But I don't want them to feel as though we're going against something that they are kind of supporting. But then they need to be able to, if they're going to articulate that there's issues with it, they can vote against it. I mean, that's how this works. And I think if we can kind of clean up that, leave out the numbers of what it shows. I mean, obviously, as we build houses, that 10% number, we're kind of kicking that goal down the road that the numbers always increase or change. So that's my comments, I guess, at this time regarding it. And I told them that I appreciate and respect that they do take the public comments and, probably don't make a ton of friends at the end of the night from residents if it's something that they're against or proposed.
And Mayor, that is the role of the planning commission.
It is.
They're
I'm
to
just
be the clearinghouse and to somewhat isolate the process from the politics of the city council.
right. But I think, if you're just a resident reading the packet, the first thing it says is staff recommends 1, approval, 2, deny. So, I think just as a resident going up, maybe they never look at our information. And they think, oh, the city's trying to push this through or the council wants this. We don't want that. We have to follow the proper chains when an application is submitted. We have to do our due diligence to make sure that we're reviewing it and that we're staying, we're just staying in the middle of it. We're hearing all the facts both ways.
I'm
my
certain the
comment.
city attorney's training session on the 23rd will cover why staff always recommends approval with conditions.
I know it will. I know it will. And his training will probably also include why council needs to keep their mouth shut until it comes in front of us. So, right? He's shaking his.
I will be addressing these topics.
Great, add it to your list. But I mean, there's things that, again, our job as council is that we have to be protecting the city, and that includes the whole city, not just one section of the city.
And Mayor, this was a rare instance where the planning commission and council diverged in opinions. So it's certainly not the norm.
Yeah, it's happened twice though.
Mhm.
So, but I think he was just feeling a little attacked, and I appreciate that he brought it up. So,
Madam Mayor,
yes.
I would just kind of echo some of those comments. I think one of the things that I heard was that Chair Offerman was frustrated that it felt like it was a waste of their time. And I would just sort of offer a different perspective on that. I think that the commissions are incredibly important. Without them, the work of the council would be probably close to impossible. We would be tied up in minutia probably all day long. So I think that the commissions do a very important job the citizen advisory commissions. And really they're there to advise, right? And sometimes we won't agree with their advisements, and that's not a bad thing. I think if we were in lockstep with the commissions 100% of the time, there'd be no need for them. So I just want to kind of take the opportunity to thank all those commission members and all the ones that are going to be applying for those commissions. I wholeheartedly believe that those are very important things that exist within the city.
Absolutely. And we, we always say that to them too, is that you're making this, you're reviewing things because we have more sets of eyes that aren't just elected officials. There's only 5 of us. So we need other people in the community to have input, and their expertise is why they apply for certain areas too, to serve on any of those commissions. So do you think, is it appropriate? I mean, I guess, Dan, I'm asking you, is it appropriate? Do you think we should have a small workshop with them? Or I guess, what are you looking at in regards to getting them this feedback from us? And at this point, only I've given the specifics to Norhart, but
So we could certainly do that at some point if the planning, you as the liaison could offer that to the planning commission if they feel like that would be helpful. I think,
Okay.
The liaison that they've always had from the planning commission, whether it was Councilmember Heidner, Councilmember Darkenwalder, yourself, has always conveyed the city council's appreciation to the planning commission and explained when there have been differences. So if the planning commission feels that would be of value, I think that'd be worthwhile.
I will bring it up to them at the next meeting. All right, thank you. Anything else, Dan?
Nothing.
Okay, Ron.
I just want to give you an update on that left-hand turn signal project. We were expecting that the brand new heads would be in right around January 1st. I talked to the contractor, they're still not here, but he will let me know when they get here. So I think within the next few weeks, you'll see progress on that with them placing the new heads up and pulling the wires through the mast arms and down the poles back to the cabinet, and then MnDOT and the county will be there to program those.
How long start to finish do they anticipate that taking?
It does take them long to do their portion of the work, and then it's getting MnDOT scheduled to reprogram with that flashing left-hand turn signal in it. So
Okay.
I think the work itself is going to take 2 weeks or so, but it's going to be on warmer days with the less wind.
Sure.
And then they'll be doing that work during off-peak hours.
Okay.
So that we're not dealing with rush hour traffic in the morning or in the evening.
That was gonna be my next question,
Yes.
just about making sure that we
Yeah.
get people
was part of
to
the-
and from.
Pre-construction meeting
Okay.
discussions.
You made the comment that Wright County and that would be present together, but the signals are coordinated on MnDOT's
Correct.
timing. Okay.
Yep.
All right, perfect. Jason.
I guess I'm gonna deal with the short.
I was
podium
like, you
today.
gotta
Oh,
do
no,
do
your
your rise up. Why not?
magic button is plugged. Oh, man.
Magic
Oh,
buttons.
boy, I'm gonna get a bad back here because I'm gonna start thinking.
Sorry.
I see we're after 8 o'clock, so I'm gonna cross out a few items so that we're not here for the next
You-
hour.
Nope, the floor is yours.
But if you could be quick, that'd be great.
She said it, not me. Give her the ticket.
So I'll go over a couple of things. One thing that has been really nice, so Otsego's done a really good job of getting the snow removed from the streets. As maybe cliche as that sounds, when you're dealing with an emergency response situations across the city with the amount of snow that we've had here in the past couple of weeks, where it's just constant. I've heard some pretty bad stories across kind of the metro, and even a couple incidents that have happened in the county where ambulances, fire trucks, squad cars are getting stuck on a city street. We have not had any issue like that in Otsego, so we've been able to get everything around. The public for the most part has done a good job of keeping their cars out of the streets. So we haven't had to deal with emergency situations where snow plows can't get through, or having to, like I said, get a fire truck sneak through because they can't get through because of snow. So that's worked out really well. So I appreciate the work that the city's done to ensure that has gonna happen. I will definitely say it's nice to have all-wheel drive squad cars now compared to about 10 years ago when we were dealing with rear-wheel drive Crown Victorias. Otherwise, one of the big pieces I'm looking at right now is the schedule is set for 2023. The new schedule is going to take place on the 21st or 22nd is when the new schedule comes in. Just to kind of go over that again, at the beginning of each year, we redo the entire schedule for all the patrol deputies. This ends up being 90 plus people across the department that we bid based on our contract and seniority shifts we'd like to work. That's as far as our time periods go. And then command staff takes the bid sheets and goes, okay, this person has to work day shift. And then we kind of pick and choose, mix and match the chess piece to determine where those deputies will work as far as their areas go. So command staff and then typically sergeants with a loud mouth have an opinion on where people go. So Otsego set, I think we're fortunate that about 50% of the people that are working at Otsego have already worked at Otsego in some capacity. Some of the people, you know, Kyla, for example, I really wanted her back in the city. She absolutely anchors the city in the scheduling, so she'll be back. I can certainly get out a list of everybody that'll be working town. And the only adjustment that we really made with the increase of 2 hours technically per day for Otsego is the biggest piece we're going to be looking at is the weekends. We're kind of taking some of those hours and getting them so we have more hours set for the weekends because of the disparity of calls on like a Saturday. I really want to make sure that we have 2 squad cars available between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. on the weekends versus the weekdays. Tuesday night, not as big of a deal to have 2 squad cars at 2:30 in the morning. On a Saturday night, that's a huge deal. That's a really big deal for me to have that there. So that's kind of where we're mixing and matching some of that. I can certainly print that out with my horrible Photoshop skills to try to get that up. And I know we have that up on the website right now too. So for all the public to see. So just kind of working a few of those things out, but it's all complete. It's just now disseminating the information to everybody that needs the information.
Perfect. Jason, could you get just a list of who, you know, I mean, we don't need their shifts, but who's going to be on days and just list them out and send it to Adam, then we can include it with our weekly update, just so we have an idea. And if there's legal reasons on your end that you can't share the information, I understand.
No, one of the benefits of the current schedule right now is there will be substantially more consistency with who's going to be working and when.
Okay.
One of the pieces is now the schedule will be a deputy. If it is a Monday or a Tuesday, you know for sure who's going to be working on Monday or Tuesday, and then there's going to be a for sure Wednesday and Thursday deputy.
Okay.
So that's a big deal for like Kevin. So Kevin has a problem with there's a car stuck on a street somewhere. We need to get that out of the way because maintenance snowplow needs to get through. Well, there's an inefficiency to have to call dispatch, answer all these questions versus hold on, it's Tuesday. I know who's working. And so there will be somebody and he can just go right off the list and call that deputy directly. The deputy can respond directly versus having this mix and match of government efficiency of getting a hold of that deputy. So that'll work out really well this year for that.
I think that will be great. Anything else?
Madam Mayor, I did have a question for Jason. So with the extra 2 hours that we now have with Wright County, obviously the need will change. You know, right now it's Saturdays from 2 to 4, but let's say it's Friday nights, or let's say it's, I don't know, Tuesday nights. As those change, as the need changes, obviously the schedules can change, and where you put people from what time, where they're scheduled will also change. It's not like it's a set in stone deal.
So, yeah, so a little bit of a history lesson because it's paced at 8 o'clock and you want a history lesson on how the contracts work. It used to be the contract was set where it actually was a set amount per day. That's how the contract was set. And it had to be that amount per day, which created some serious scheduling issues because it could have been a Tuesday. Somebody calls in sick on a day that's 30 below, nobody's doing anything, and we had to fill that shift. Now it's set, it's per year, we just divide it back into per day. So each set is like, yeah, we have to have 50 hours per day. However, if there's a stockpile of hours that we need, so Maybe there's events that are happening in town, maybe there's, Prairie Fest, we need some extra help in and around town, whatever the case is. We can technically stockpile those numbers. If I say Tuesday, let's save some of that for Saturday, we can do that, or vice versa. It's Saturday, let's take those hours and put them over here. I can willy-nilly do that right now. I can go to my computer and adjust those hours right now, depending on the situation, and have it literally right now. Or some emergency situation where we need to know that we're gonna have to flood it with hours. We can absolutely do that.
I just think it's good to have the residents know what, why they have the extra 2 hours, and it can be adjusted as to where you need it and where you don't need it.
And as issues arise, as he said, they can be flexible to make sure that we are covered in the
Yeah.
city and taking care of issues.
100%. Thank you.
Lastly, Mayor.
Mhm.
I was driving with my son was driving, teaching him, or he was doing whatever in the back roads out here by the fourth water tower. We saw, some snowmobilers, and there was a snowmobile with flashing lights. Are there actually Wright County?
Yes.
Is there really?
Yes, they
Oh,
were,
okay.
they were here on Saturday, 2
Okay,
of them.
because we saw, no way somebody's got lights in their sled.
Yep, we, because they're technically emergency vehicles, we're required to have flashing lights. Some of them actually have sirens on. So yeah, we have shifts that will happen, on busier times for snowmobiles. We'll have somebody set. That's specifically a Wright County. That isn't an Otsego hours or anything like that. That is Wright County has snowmobile patrol.
Okay.
We have people that are dedicated to that. We have part-time people on that will come out on Saturdays, Sundays, night times, and they'll go to various trails around the county. Otsego happen to be on Saturday, so they can for sure make it up to the hot dogs on the trail thing too. But yeah, they will go that, and if they have an emergency call, they'll respond by sled, or in some other situation if they're not on patrol. If we have emergency search and rescue, which we actually had last week, where we had to use the snowmobile. It's nice to have those lights to point out what's going on.
Yeah. That was interesting. Cool. Thank you, sir.
I learned from the deputies that were there, they travel in two, obviously, so if they have to arrest some, so it would put them in a disadvantage if there's only one snowmobile. So there's 2 of them, and they work the park side of things, and they bid these jobs in this path for 5 years.
Yeah, so that particular deputy, that's his full time. He is
Yep.
strictly snowmobile and water patrol.
Yeah, so in the summer it's water. So,
Okay.
And
'Cause-
like I said, that's a county specific thing. That isn't taking away from, or taking Otsego hours and putting them into a snowmobile that particular day. That's just that deputy is for the county, and he'll go as needed.
countywide, he said, yeah.
Nice. Okay.
So it's a very interesting thing, and it was a good thing that when they came out, it was obviously in a non-confrontational situation with the snowmobilers that were present, that they could just kind of have a back and forth discussion with them and questions. And so it was nice. So thank you for adding them to the schedule to make sure that they made it up here.
For sure.
Does anyone else have anything for Jason, or Jason, anything for us?
That's all I got.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You. All right. Anybody have anything else? Otherwise, a motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
Oh, my goodness.
Motion by
Whoa.
Jeff, seconded by
Whoa.
Ryan. All right, this is
Yeah.
gonna be like,
I'm kind of nervous.
all right, is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. The meeting is ended. Thank you all for attending, and have a great night.